Yeah.
So you know how I feel about Raheem Mostert. He recently asked for an extension, and I think not an extension, a raise, not an extension, because he got his extension last year and he signed for 2 more years.
Exactly.
He wants a raise. I think he should get it. You think he shouldn't. So why don't you lay out the argument against the Niners giving him a raise? I'll lay out my argument for it, and we'll see if we can. We probably won't change each other's minds, but we'll see if we can come to an understanding.
Right. And it's not necessarily like I don't feel like he deserves a raise, right? The only raise that I would give him is basically like I would guarantee the money. That's it.
Okay.
There wouldn't be any more money coming out of the pot, right? Like if I'm George Kittle and I sit back and I see that, like I'm pissed because this guy just signed a new contract and I'm the 2-time All-Pro, just got voted to being the best tight end in the NFL. You know what I'm saying? So, that's just what it is.
So it's just a bad look to extend to do anything with any player before Kittle is what you're saying.
Hell yeah. That's it. And it's not about the amount of money. I think it's the principle. You know what I mean? It's definitely the principle of how it would look to George Kittle and his agent. Now his agent can come back and say, hey, man, this dude is a dude who got cut by 7 teams. You know what I'm saying? Like he wouldn't have been able to have some of those running lanes if it wasn't for George Kittle. And y'all giving him money already? Like, nah, it ain't supposed to work like that, bro. Like,
Okay. What else? You were saying that that running backs in Shanahan's system historically fall off when they leave, right?
Yeah. I mean, so I looked at so we're gonna go to the 2008-2009 season. Steve Slayton. He's a pretty good running back.
I remember Steve
Western Virginia, right? He was after he was after the Arians Foster era. The first year with Shanahan, man, in that 2000.
He was before it.
Oh, he was before it?
He was before it. Oh, wait.
Oh, okay. Yeah. He in the 2008-2009 season, he had 1,282 yards rushing and 9 touchdowns, right? Shanahan leaves the following year. He has 377 yards and 1 touchdown, bro.
Yep.
377 and 1 touchdown.
Yeah.
Then Shanahan, he goes to the Skins, right?
Yeah.
He has Roy Helu, and then he has Alfred Morris. Alfred Morris is an undrafted free agent, bro. Well, he's a 6th rounder, right? So you might as well say undrafted, but he's a 6th rounder, right? Nobody knew who the hell Alfred Morris was, right? He had 1,613 yards and 13 touchdowns in 2012. Then in 2013, he turned around and he had 1,275 and 7 touchdowns, and he only played 14 games. This is a 6th rounder. Then, in Cleveland, he basically had like the same tandem that he does with the 49ers. He had 2 running backs. He had a 3rd rounder in Terrence West who had 673 and 4 touchdowns. And then he had Isaiah Crowell. Another undrafted guy.
Yeah. Did he have Ben Tate too?
Yeah.
If I remember correctly. Okay.
Yeah. And he had 607 yards and 8 touchdowns. Then it's on to the Falcons. You got Devontae Freeman. He's a 4th round guy. He had 1056 and 11 touchdowns. Then he had 1079 and 11 touchdowns in 2016. Coleman also had 520, 8 touchdowns, and then 31 receptions for 421 and 3 touchdowns. And then, you see him leave and you see what happens to Devontae Freeman, right? He goes from having Nike commercials, Gatorade influence to nothing. Even Steve Slayton, he's playing in Canada right now. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, Kyle just takes guys in his system. I feel like his system aids guys into getting the contract.
No doubt. No doubt. Yep. And I think it's fair to say that Raheem Mostert probably would average more yards per carry here than on other teams. Although I think he would play well for like the Chiefs and other, like the Rams, the Saints. I'm sure all these teams would actually like him. I don't know how much they would pay him. Okay, so let me make the argument that they should give him a raise, and you tell me what you think. I hear what you're saying, and a lot of his value does come from Shanahan. No question. His dad has proven that for years. But for whatever reason, on this team in San Francisco, we've seen Carlos Hyde, Alfred Morris, Tevin Coleman. For whatever reason, Mostert has played so much better than them here.
Carlos had 938, 8 touchdowns, 350 yards receiving, and two more receiving touchdowns. He ain't done that yet. And Carlos,
what was his yards per carry?
I didn't get the yards per carry.
3.9. So this kid's he's 28 years old. Mostert's averaging 6 yards a carry, including the postseason. That's pretty remarkable. And so he's not asking for, I don't think he's asking for like $8-9 million a year. What he's asking for is to be paid more than Tevin Coleman. Because the way it works in NFL locker rooms, when there's a clear pecking order in a room, running back room, wide receiver room, it usually needs to follow the money as well. Like if one guy's the best, he should be the highest paid. And if like basically if Tevin Coleman's making $2 million more than Raheem Mostert next year, but Mostert's carrying the ball most of the time and he's the starter, that's awkward. And it creates bad blood in the organization. And I feel like if you want to keep Tevin Coleman and pay him, if Tevin Coleman is worth $4.5 million to Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers, or 4.8, which is I think what he's going to get, then Mostert has to be worth 4.9. That's not asking a lot. And the situation is the Niners could give him a $2 million raise. It wouldn't affect their cap that much. And if they disagree with that and say it would affect their cap, then cut Coleman. Because the way I feel is Jeff Wilson Jr. can do what Coleman does.
Hell no.
For $400,000.
Yeah.
Oh,
bro,
yes.
Why does Coleman get so much hate, bro? He does all of the dirty work, bro. Look,
okay,
oh my God, I didn't even have to say it. Oh my God.
Great question. Let me try to answer because I'm not saying Coleman's bad. He's not bad. He's fine. Is that the word? He's fine. He averaged 4 yards per carry last year. That's not bad. It's not great.
You carry the ball 300 times. It's 1,200-yard season.
Right, but he didn't carry the ball for him. But I'm just saying he's fine.
He only carried 137. Yeah,
but he's not. He's either not worth $4.8 million a season, or Raheem Mostert is worth a little bit more. So maybe you can make the argument, look, we're not going to give Mostert a raise, but we are going to cut Tevin Coleman because there's no way he's worth that. It's one or the other. The Niners can't say Tevin Coleman is worth 4.8 and Mostert's worth half that. That's just ridiculous. So either you cut Coleman and take a hard line with Mostert, or you keep them both.
Hey, I'm going to ask you this question. Mm-hmm. I can see Coleman carrying the ball 250, 300 times in the season. Can you seriously see Raheem Mostert carrying the ball that much times, bro, without getting injured? Let's be real.
I don't know. Oh, exactly. Good question. Not hard. He's never done it. So, but neither has Coleman. I mean, Coleman's never run for more than 150 carries in a season. So I don't know. Hard to say. They might both break down. But let me give you an example because it's tough for fans of teams to really ever sympathize with a player. And you're wearing a Niner hat right now. So let me try to explain this to you in a way that might make you sympathize with Raheem. And if it doesn't, just let me know. But say you're like an accountant for an oil rig company, okay? And you're a great accountant, but you're not risking your life ever. And then people who work on the rig, a couple of them get sick, and you get pressed into service to actually work on the rig and, put your life on the line daily. And it's a whole different job, and you're great at it. All of a sudden, you're the best dude they've had. You're putting up numbers. You're getting more oil than anyone else, and you're proud of yourself. And you say, you know what? I like this new job. I would expect that you're going to, pay me like a guy who works on the oil rig because it's a totally new job. And they're like, no, sorry, you're an accountant, but we're going to need you to keep working on that oil rig. And we're not going to pay you anymore. And we're not going to compensate you for having more risk, but we need you to do that. See, from Mostert's perspective, what's the incentive for him to play running back? It's only going to shorten his career. He doesn't get more money for it. He was doing just fine being a special teams ace. He could do that till he's 35. Make $15, $20 million and be happy and set for life. If he plays running back, his career could end at any time. It probably won't go much past 30. So there should be some type of a little financial incentive. Here's a little security net. We appreciate that you're putting your body on the line. Here's $2 million, man. Two and a half is nothing to the 49ers. But that's all I'm saying.
It's a piss in the bucket. And I get it, bro. But at the same time, if I was a gunner, right, but I know that I had potential to get on the field and play running back, right, and get my name out there, right, you signed a contract. Yep. You knew, like, bro, it's like it's not like you get a contract and you sign it. Like they have
it's true.
Lawyers go over this paperwork and simplify it and explain exactly to you what it is. You're like we didn't hear this last season, Raheem.
You're right.
Why would you do it right now?
Let me explain this to you, like. So the agent, everyone's saying the agent screwed up, man. He needed to build in more incentives, better escalators so that this wasn't even an issue. But if you think about it, first of all, I assume the agent did. Otherwise, he's incompetent. It's very hard for a running back to hit incentives in a Shanahan offense. And you know why? Because it's a committee.
Carries, like
it's with the carries.
Yeah, Coleman and Mostert both had 137 carries, like on the dot, bro. Like
exactly. So it doesn't matter how well Mostert plays. He could average 6 yards a carry, 7 yards a carry, 8 yards a carry. He's splitting carries.
Right.
And so when you look, he didn't start a single game in the NFL in the season last year. Why? He didn't get his first carry in the Super Bowl until midway through the second quarter. Why? Because the Niners, I'm thinking, expected this. They didn't want to give Raheem Mostert too much leverage in the offseason when he asked for a raise, because it's obvious it's coming, man. He's a special teamer who's now averaging 6 yards a carry. He'd be crazy if he didn't ask for a raise. And his agent that's his job to be like, yo, it's time. So,
bro, do you honestly think that was the game plan, not to give him the ball? I think it was like we were so run heavy, like Raheem really couldn't do much against the Vikings defense because it was like a beefed up defense. They have very strong. I think they have a great linebacker tandem. Like
they do. They really do.
And Anthony Barr are like top 5.
So good.
You know what I'm saying? Yes. And then UCLA guys, let's go. So I mean, right. So it's like he couldn't do nothing against those guys. Then you bring in Coleman and he has 120 and 2 tubs because he's more physical. He can do that dirty work, right? Mm-hmm. Then against the Packers, he just goes on a tear, right? And it's like the whole NFL has seen like we're going to be run heavy. So Kyle's like, no, we're going to be pass heavy. Okay. Going into the fourth quarter, Jimmy was 18-21, throw 2 tubs. Like it was working. You know what I mean?
That's fair. All I'm saying is I understand why he couldn't hit his incentives. And I understand why Shanahan splits up the carries the way he does. Yeah, but I don't think it's fair to blame the agent and be like, well, he negotiated a bad deal. Like there's nothing. What could he have done? Shanahan is always going to keep each running back's value down by making them split carries. So I think a reasonable thing is to be like at the end of the season, he didn't complain during the year. I mean, Mostert was reasonable, upbeat, ready for anything. But at the end, be like, hey, could I please have just a running back contract? Not I don't want to be top 10. I just want to be paid more than Tevin Coleman. Is that so much to ask? And I don't think it is. I really don't, because I don't see how the Niners can explain to Raheem, look, we like you, but you're just not as good as Tevin Coleman. Like, really? How? What do you mean? And I think if you could keep Tevin Coleman, pay him 4.8, keep Mostert, pay him 4.95, and you could still afford Kittle. I think you could. Yeah.
I mean, when you look at it, man, the Chiefs just did sign a $503 million contract with $6.7 million in cap space. Like, how? I don't know how they did it, bro. Right. But this is another reason why I'll tell people, like, stop worrying about the salary cap. I don't want to hear about it, dude. Me and you, we went back and forth with this, bro. And then you told me, like, in 2021, his cap hit is what, like 12 million?
Yeah. Yes.
But he's getting like 49 or something like that.
It's all backloaded, and because of the signing bonus, it keeps the cap numbers low for the first few years.
Right.
Yeah. So, there's ways to do it.
There's ways to do it, man. So I don't think that like worrying about the cap is a thing that we should do so much.
See, to me, it's not a money issue. To me, the reason the Niners are saying no is because Parag beat Mostert and his agent on the contract and likes to win and doesn't want to give money. It's like, dude, sorry. Yeah. I beat you.
Hey, and this is another thing we have to think about. So if Mostert does it and he gets what he wants, how many other guys are going to start doing this, bro?
Sure. And look, that's why the Niners, in my opinion, can't and probably won't give Mostert what he wants right away.
Yeah.
They might wait until September and be like, you know what? This was our timeline all along. This is what we had planned, and you were a little impatient, but we're in control. And now it's September 9th, and we just cut Tevin Coleman. We created a little cap space. Here you go. They're going to make him sweat it out.
So I made a point yesterday that I was talking about Salvon Ahmed.
Yeah.
I watched Salvon Ahmed play this past year. I live in Portland. I'm in the Pacific Northwest. They run the zone stretch scheme in Washington, right?
Yes.
Same exact thing Kyle Shanahan does.
Yes.
When I say this guy cuts, he puts his foot in the ground and he gets upfield, and you see that 4.3 speed, bro. That's why I was like, I'm not too much worried about what running backs we have. You know what I'm saying? Because Kyle Shanahan will take this guy and turn him into another Raheem Mostert. You know what I'm saying?
No, when I watch Ahmed, I see Breida. To me, he looks just like Breida. He's got that because Mostert kind of glides. He looks like he's running slower than he is. Breida runs hard, super hard, and he runs fast too. But there's like a more of a violence to his style, and I feel like Ahmed has that too. He's a quick accelerator, short little choppy steps, and he's gone. I like him. He's really good, and I like Hasty too, Jermichael Hasty. And I like the kid from Fresno State, man. Hockey. You should watch him. He's not just a fullback. He runs hard.
And he's an all-American wrestler, bro. He went to the NCAA tournament and he placed 5th.
I can tell. Yep. Bro, he loves contact.
He does. So I mean, It just shows, bro, the 49ers are that team that can turn an undrafted guy into somebody who's going to get a $15, $20 million contract.
Here's how I think it'll play out, though. The Niners probably feel like they have an ace up their sleeve with McKinnon. Like if McKinnon comes back and he's healthy, then they don't have to, then he's cheap and he's their guy. So kick rocks, Raheem. But the way I see it is that's wishful thinking. And I would, if I had to bet or guess, I would bet against Jerick McKinnon. Nothing personal. It's just he's missed 2 seasons with a serious knee injury. So if he's not himself, or if he gets injured again, then Raheem Mostert's in a good spot, because you're not going to go into the season with Tevin Coleman, Jeff Wilson Jr., and rookies. I think the Niners at that point will be like, all right, man, here's your $2 million. Here it is. You got us. See, if the Niners hadn't traded Breida, they'd be in a much better position, because they'd be like, you know what, we'll just go Breida. Breida averages 5 yards a carry. He's great. But now they don't have him. So Tevin Coleman, maybe he was hurt last year, but he did not have the explosion I saw from him when he was younger. Like he just didn't. I think that was part of the, like, Breida has it. Ahmed has it. Mostert has it. So I think a lot depends on McKinnon. If McKinnon comes back and shows out, then Mostert's in a tough spot. But if he struggles, then Mostert, I just feel like the Niners are going to take a hard line now. Like they can't allow a player to make a request and get it right away. Because from their perspective, it makes them look weak and they want to be in control. But at the same time, I don't think they really want to go into the season with just Coleman and Wilson as their top 2 running backs. And I think if Mostert's patient and McKinnon doesn't come back, they'll probably work it out, because it's really like peanuts to the 49ers. It's more of a principle thing.
Yeah.
So, and I know they'd like to just move on and on principle, but I don't think they're in a position to, unless McKinnon really comes back and tears it up. So I think in 2 months, this should work itself out.
Yeah. You know? I think we're going to get into training camp. I think training camp, does it start on July 25th?
I think they report on the 25th, and their first day of practice is the 28th, something like that.
28th, yeah. So, I mean, I think they're probably going to wait a couple of weeks into training camp, see how McKinnon is looking.